What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to another True Raider podcast. Now, I got some kind of interesting timing right now because we have the presser going on with Brock Bowers. You guys want me to go ahead and play the audio from that real quick? Get that up.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to have them here. Obviously, they supported me through it all, and they've been there with me every step of the way. So, I'm sure that'll continue. And yeah.
Who's the best athlete in your family?
That's always a big argument. I usually let them argue. Both my parents argue about it, but yeah, I don't want to say anything. No comment on that.
Brock, just thoughts on sharing the tight end room with Michael Mayer. It doesn't seem like it's very often you'll have two pretty high draft pick tight ends so young in the same tight end room together.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to work with him, and hopefully he can teach me a thing or two. And I remember watching him in college and at the next level. So I'm excited to see what happens and meet with all the guys.
Yeah, good. All right, thank you, Brock.
Thank you guys.
All right, so that was Brock Bowers on his presser introductory. There was a lot of rumors that were kind of swirling around about him on social media. I saw a thing today where they were saying that since they're from Napa, that it's a family of Raider fans and he's getting to fulfill a dream come true. And I think that he just debunked that just now. And he let it be known that he comes from a family of 49er fans, right? How do you guys feel about that? 49er fans coming over. There was this this meme that went out, and
How do you guys feel about
I posted it earlier. And it was, his dad's reaction, right? You could just see his dad was just red in the face, and people were speculating like, oh, well, he's holding back emotions, or people are saying he was gassy, all these kind of things, and I think that it really shows what it was now is that they're 49er fans, man, and his kid got drafted to the Las Vegas Raiders. So if they're involved in that rivalry of the Bay, man, they're not happy right now, right? And you could kind of see that there hasn't been a whole lot of him being very happy, and that could be for a number of reasons. But honestly, like this pickup, I think is it's not nearly as bad as most of us think. I honestly think it's going to be better and it's going to show in the long term, but just at the moment, it was like, that's not really a need for us. Let's shout out to everybody in the building. Brian, let's go Raider Nation. Welcome, man. Michael L. Click that like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you, my brother. I appreciate you. James, always in the building. What's up, man? Let's see, what do I think of Pratt? Honestly, I haven't really watched much tape on Pratt. I saw a little bit of highlights and stuff. He seems all right. I think that, I don't really know if he's even somebody that we're looking at right now. Sounds like we got some kitties meowing. I got some baby kittens. So if you hear some meowing, sorry about that. But, with Michael Pratt, Pratt is going to go third, fourth round, probably. And really right now we have Aiden O'Connell. He was drafted in the fourth round and he was able to actually have some starts, have some playing time at the NFL level, NFL speed. And so really, if we're going to draft somebody that late, I don't know if that's really a good idea for us, just because, Aiden O'Connell is already a late draft pick and we don't really exactly know what we have in him. We kind of do, but not all the way. See, Michael L. When the guy you wanted is not there at your pick and you're unable to move up to get him, when your pick comes, you take the best pick available, and that's what we did last night. Bravo. And honestly, that is what we did, right? And I think that there's a lot of things that we could have done that were like best pick available that also meets a need, like Fuaga was right there, and he's going to be one of those talents that translates to the NFL level immediately. And I really honestly think that probably would have been more in our best interest. But this whole pick with Brock Bowers, I was just kind of shocked at first. I went live last night and I was just kind of feeling deflated and not really man, I didn't really know what to think about it, right? And so I started watching some tape on him, some breakdowns. I started, really looking into who he is as a prospect. And this is a guy that, he's got work ethic, he's got that motor, and really watching his tape, it reminded me of Christian McCaffrey. Now, I'm not going to say that he's going to come out and be the next Christian McCaffrey because you can't really predict that, right? But if I had to compare him, some people were saying, oh, we got our Travis Kelsey and maybe George Kittle and things like that. But he's not really like a true tight end. This guy he's kind of an all-around player. A lot of his snaps were in the slot, a lot of them were on the outside, and then a lot of them were at tight end. He did a lot of stuff from the backfield. He did a lot of sweeps, gadget plays, and the dude is just like a beast, at least at the college level, he was over there just running dudes over, and really just relentless when it came to making that play happen. And so really, this is something that our roster has really been missing. Hunter Renfrow used to kind of be that guy for us, even though he was way smaller. And Hunter Renfrow really kind of fell off once Derek Carr left. It just wasn't really clicking for him. We ended up cutting Hunter Renfrow, and I was speculating that maybe we're going to go ahead and bring him back on for a cheaper deal. But with the addition of Brock Bowers, it's Hunter Renfrow ship has sailed. Really, he's like a bigger, stronger, faster Hunter Renfrow. And so you really can't be upset about that, right? Like he also has a pretty good ability to block. Some people kind of, talk bad about his blocking ability, but really I watched some tape where he made some good blocks. I also saw some tape where he missed some blocks that he should have got. But really overall, I think he's gonna be such a huge weapon for us, man. I mean, this offense, I'd been talking about it in a couple of videos where we were kind of lacking in the receiver department. And the fact that we are lacking on receivers, receiver depth, I really think that this just kind of locks that down, right? Because, okay, if we're going to roll forward with Aiden O'Connell, or even if it's Gardner Minshew, honestly, I think Aiden O'Connell is probably going to get that spot, but we'll see. More will be revealed, right? But to have a quarterback that's, not a top quarterback, pretty mid, what we're going to really get is an extra weapon for that person, for that quarterback to utilize. And it's really going to make this offense open up. And, he was talking about it in the presser where, he used to be teammates with Zamir White. He used to be teammates with Chris Smith, who, honestly, we haven't gotten much playing time from him. So I'm really interested to see, if he's also going to be one of those players to step up. Let's see. So you're saying offensive tackle and center or guard build up the offensive line. You're talking about that's what you want to see happen today. There's still a lot of good players on the board, so I don't really know how today is going to unfold. We got Johnny Newton is still on the board. Cooper DeJean is still on the board. Kool-Aid McKinstry is still on the board. There's Brandon Fisk, Blake Fisher. There's a lot of good talent still out there, and really what we started on pick 33 today, right? And so we're going to be really like the 11th pick of the day. And I have a feeling that the Raiders are going to go ahead and move up, right? Because there's some of those talents that really were first round talents, but there was such a run on quarterbacks because 6 quarterbacks went in the first 12 picks. A lot of those guys fell, like a lot of people were projecting Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. to be second rounders, which I never thought that was going to happen. And some people even said JJ McCarthy might go late first. He went pretty early. And so it really pushed some of those really good players down the line. And I think that's why a lot of us were shocked, right? Because when we came to pick number 13, we had our pick of the crop when it came to defensive players. There hadn't been a single defensive player that had been drafted yet. And we could have just gone out and gotten whatever defensive player we saw fit, but Brock Bowers was really projected to be like a top 5 pick. Some people say top 7. Either way, he's a dog. And I think that our offense is just going to be so much better because of it. Our offense is what lacked, last year. Our defense was just stacked, just did an incredible job. and our offense just couldn't put points on the board. So we have another weapon that can put points on the board, and that's just, I think that's just going to really show out as time goes on. I think we're going to be looking at this like, man, I'm so glad that we made that pick. A lot of people in the nation are upset, but you got to remember when the Chiefs moved up and drafted Patrick Mahomes, there was people that put out videos that they were pissed. They couldn't believe that they moved up and got Patrick Mahomes. And now look at him, right? Now look at him. Let's see, Darren Waller, I think that there's some differences between him and Darren Waller. I think that honestly, he's a way better player. I think that he's shorter, but he's stockier, and I think he's faster. And he's just more versatile. He's got a lot more options that he can offer us than Darren Waller. I really liked Darren Waller, but you could just kind of see that he was lacking something, man. He just wasn't really I don't think he was as invested, and one of the things that I heard about Brock Bowers, and I don't know if this is true, right? There was a lot of stuff that went out last night. Somebody was talking about that Brock Bowers was, that he's not in it for the money, right? That he comes from a family that's, well off, and that really it's that he just wants to be the best football player that he can be, and he shows a lot of good work ethic, and he's a dog, Raider Deb, welcome. Think we got a good pick. Yeah, I saw on the presser you were talking about watching tape, and I watched a bunch of tape on this guy because I really wanted to get to know who is it that we actually picked up. And honestly, this is an amazing pick. It just, I think everybody was shocked because not only did we not get our quarterback, but then we, everybody, well, at least me, I was thinking okay, now we're going to go get one of these major needs that we have in the first round. And then it's like tight end. And a tight end? What do we need a tight end for? But if you really look at this guy, I'll say it again. I think that his NFL comp is Christian McCaffrey. And if that's the case, man, that's going to be super amazing. I really hope that that's what he ends up turning out to be. And if he doesn't, he doesn't, man. But honestly, when I watched his tape, that's what I saw. I even pulled up some Christian McCaffrey tape, and I was watching one on my phone and one on my computer, and I was comparing some of their stuff, and it's just dude, this is his movements, all kinds of the different ways that he's utilized. It's this is the kind of stuff that I was seeing, so that's really awesome. I really like that. Let me see. Let's go on to the next. Michael, I'm okay with picking up Spencer Rattler and developing him behind AOC and Gardner. I think it's a perfect situation for him. And I'm not going to be mad if we pick up a Spencer Rattler. I don't think that if we pick him up that we would play him this year. And some people are projecting him to go in round 2. Some people are projecting him to go in round 4. Now, if we got him 3rd or 4th round, I'd be a little bit more okay with it. If we pick him up with pick number 44, I don't really know how I'm going to feel about it. I'm going to assume that, Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco believe that he's the guy and that he could do a lot. But we still have some needs that need to be met, honestly, if we draft on our second pick outside of need, I want Johnny Newton. I was watching, on San GT on his football scout page, he did a breakdown of Johnny Newton, right? And I was watching that this morning, and just his ability to use his hands and just his movements are really just on point. And I would love to see us pick up somebody like that, because really Adam Butler and John Jenkins, they're over 30, they're on 1-year deals, and I think really solidifying a rookie like that right next to Christian Wilkins, I mean, our line would just be insane. And really, if we don't pick up a corner, and we went ahead and moved forward with the corners that we had, but we added a Johnny Newton, I wouldn't be upset about that at all, man. I wouldn't be upset at all. When does it start? When does what start? You talking about the presser? Because if you're talking about the presser with Brock Bowers, it already played. He wasn't on for very long, maybe 10 minutes. And turns out his family is 49ers fans. So, I don't think that's really going to go over too well with the nation, but the dude's a dog, man, and I think overall it's going to be a good pickup, man. I really do. If you're talking about the draft, okay, I see. Yeah, the draft. Um, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really excited to see what happens here in day 2 because so many first round guys fell to the second round. I think that there's going to be some trades. I think there's going to be a little bit of chaos that happens, but we could be wrong, right? It could be that some of these teams don't want to budge. Like the Bills moved back, and I think that they knew what they were doing when they did that because they're going to be able to pick up one of these first round talents in the second round, and they picked up new draft capital. I'm actually kind of upset that we didn't do that because there were so many good players on the board, and the Rams did try to move up to 13, and maybe they just weren't offered enough. I think that here in the coming days we'll get to see a little bit more of what they offered. Let's see, unless we traded away, I think we're taking an offensive tackle with 44. I mean, we got Blake Fisher is still on the board. What's that other guy's name? I can't really pronounce it. He's I want to say it's Sumata or something like that. Let me see. Let me move on the list. I got the list pulled up. I'm not doing share screen because if any of you guys have been rocking with me the last couple of days, every time I do share screen, it freezes up. I found out that it's not my computer, it's actually StreamYard. And so I don't know if it's I don't know, man. It might just be on my end. Maybe other people are having this problem. I've been looking on other people that I know that use this software, and they haven't done any share screens in the last couple of days. So I'm hoping that it's something that gets resolved. But yeah, some of the players that we got, like Johnny Newton, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Ennis Rakestraw. Let's see, Braden Fisk, which is somebody that Max Crosby was talking about that just has that motor and is just relentless. So there's like a lot of good players still on the board. Let's see, really thought we should have taken Fuaga, but I'm not upset about Bowers. I will trust in the process and root for the Raiders, whoever their players are. And that's what it really comes down to. It's all about the shield. The players are just the players. I want us to be in the best possible position to succeed. But, really, Fuaga would have been an amazing pickup. But I'm not mad about Bowers, man. I'm just, I'm a little shocked that we didn't get a need. But also, this draft class is really deep in corner and in offensive linemen. So I really think that that's part of why they made that decision, because they feel that they can pick those people up later on. Raider Deb, I was upset at first, especially with Fuaga was still on the board, but I'm excited after what I've seen. He also said he wants to take the ball straight into the end zone. Rattler probably in the 4th. If we could get Spencer Rattler in the 4th, super happy with that pick. Go ahead and pick him up in the 4th. But really, at this point, we didn't get Jane Daniels. We didn't get Michael Penix Jr. I think that they're planning on just rolling forward and seeing what Aiden O'Connell really is as a prospect. There are some other guys that we're talking about how, next year there's not going to be nearly as many teams that are needy for a quarterback. And so it's going to put us in a position where it might be easier to get one of those guys. But then again, if we have a good season, especially if we make it to the playoffs, we're not going to be in a great position to be drafting a quarterback very high, having to try to move up too far. And so we're going to have to hope to get a good quarterback later on if they deem that Aiden O'Connell's not the guy. I like Gardner Minshew. Every time that we played against him, I was just like, man, like last year when we played against him, we'd be better off if we had this guy on our roster. But, there's a reason why he really hasn't gone in as a starter, why he keeps jumping from team to team. It's like right now we have the 2 best backup quarterbacks in the league. And that's not really the best position to be in. But, at least – I don't know, man. At least that they're guys that can actually get some things done. So, that's on the bright side. What's up, Frank? After seeing Bowers tape, he's going to be hard to tackle. And with this new rule, I think he will be like top TEs like Mark Andrews, Kelsey Kittle, but way faster. And the kid is only 21. And like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you're on, but, my pro comp to him is Christian McCaffrey. So if he even gets close to being that kind of beast level, we're not going to be mad about this later on at all. Just the shocker for the moment. Raiders Rebel, what's up, man? Glad you're on. Yeah, I was shocked to know Quinyon Mitchell, and we could have moved back up for him. Yeah, like really, if we had traded back to where the Rams, and maybe it's that they weren't offering enough, but it could be that Tom Telesco just really wanted Brock Bowers, you know. But yeah, if we were able to trade back a little bit, we could have picked him up. I think he went number 21 to the Eagles. And so there would have been an opportunity to pick up some more draft capital and get Quinyon Mitchell is just a beast in the corner, man. I really think that would have been the move for us, but I really trust this regime, and I think that they made a good decision, and I hope that really reflects moving forward, especially now in rounds 2 and 3. If we're able to lock down some players like a Cooper DeJean or a Kool-Aid McKinstry, or really lock down our right tackle, then I'm not going to be upset. Then it's going to be like, okay, cool, we got a weapon, and now we're able to meet those needs, and then let's move forward. Raider X. Everyone gets so upset or excited about these picks, but no one ever knows how good any of these guys will actually be. And that's true, man. I saw some people that, I really actually trust their opinion, that they're saying like, look, like this is somebody who is guaranteed not to be a bust. I don't think anybody's guaranteed not to be a bust. But the fact of the matter is that this guy is an amazing player. He's really going to make our offense more dynamic. He really offers some things that we really don't have. And when you have somebody that's such a threat like that, it really opens everything up for everybody else, because then all of a sudden, if you're running a set where you got Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers, right? And then you got Michael Mayer and Cooper DeJean, who are you going to double team, right? And then it's just, I don't know, man, it's insane to me. I really think that this is going to be a good pick overall. Let's see, now we get a corner next. J-Dog, I really want a corner. It's either corner or offensive tackle for me, really. But like I was saying, Johnny Newton, if we picked up Johnny Newton or Braden Fisk, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to understand the pickup. But yeah, those are like really the spots that I'd love to see us hit. If we did something weird, like I don't know, picked up a receiver or a running back right now, I think I'd be pretty upset. If we picked up a quarterback right now, I'd be pretty upset, because I don't think that any of these guys really have a second round grade. At least I wouldn't give them a second round grade. I'd really like to see the rest of these quarterbacks fall to the third or fourth. And since all these quarterbacks already went in the top 12, I really think that these guys are going to fall even further, just because there's nobody that's really, needing to jump on that run on quarterbacks. Let's see. Yeah, man, the Eagles got the steal on that one, and they're just sitting there because they were talking about trading up to get a corner, and they saw that run on quarterbacks, and they just like, man, we're going to get one of those top corners, and the fact that, he went their defense is just going to be insane now. So that's 2 years in a row where we wanted a guy on defense and the Eagles picked him up, man. Jalen Carter, I think should have gone over Tyree Wilson any day, even if they were reluctant because of behavioral problems or whatever. They should have picked him up, man. Hopefully Tyree Wilson just kind of makes that jump this year and proves us all wrong, but you never really know, man. Let's see. We're not going to the playoffs, 7 wins. AP will be fired after 2 years. Book it from the QBs. Honestly, man, I don't think that that's going to be the case for us. I think it's going to be pretty hard for them to really solidify their position as our staff with rolling forward with the quarterbacks that we have, man. And I think that that's why they went ahead and they were trying to move up to get Jane Daniels. We tried to trade up to get Michael Penix Jr. Same with the Saints and the Seahawks. All 3 teams called the Falcons, tried to trade up, and the Falcons just didn't want to budge, and even Kirk Cousins' camp is like what the hell are you guys doing, man? Like, they called Kirk Cousins from the war room, man, and they were like, hey, just want to let you know we're going to draft a Michael Penix Jr. I picked number 8, and it doesn't make any sense. If I were Michael Penix Jr., I would be pissed, because they just signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal with $100 million guaranteed. They can't even move on from him. So what's the expectation there? I really don't know what's going to happen with that, man. Let me see. Ernest, man, you always pop in, man. Good to see you. Yeah. Is it Kool-Aid or Cooper DeJean? Cooper DeJean, you keep saying, man, you've been saying the last several days, every time you jump on the live, that's your guy, right? And I was watching some more tape on him because it's like, oh, this is actually realistically a prospect that we could get, right? He's right now listed as the best available, right? And I know he's got that injury, and a lot of people don't like him, and I really wasn't finding out why, and on social media, most people say he doesn't have enough pigment, which is that's interesting to me, right? It's like I don't care what color the corner is, what's his skill set? If he has a really good skill set, then I'm all about it, man. If we have to move up to get him, I'm gonna be a little bit weary on how much we give up to move up to get him. I don't think it'll cost too much. But I'm really curious to see what this is going to look like. I'm excited. I think I'm more excited now than I was yesterday, because yesterday I knew I was going to get let down. I mean, if you guys have watched any of my videos, I wanted Jaden Daniels, and I really, really wanted Jaden Daniels. I knew that it was a slim chance, but it's like, man, until the Commanders call his name, I'm not giving up on hope, and then I was like, okay, cool. Michael Penix Jr. being a second option, that's great. Let's go with that. And once he was off the table, I was just bracing myself, man. And there's so much like more anxiety and stuff yesterday than there is today. Today, I'm a little bit more confident that we're going to be able to pick up some of these, I have a feeling that the nation is going to be like, okay, yes, this is one of the guys I was talking about, and if not, man, ooh, I'll brace for it, man. Tom Telesco has a history of staying put and just picking up the player that falls to him and getting best player available. And if you look at the Chargers roster of all their first round picks of the last several years, they have a ton of them. I have another video that I broke that down. And then if you look at the Raiders, all of our first round picks, man, the only one that we have left on our roster is Colton Miller. And that's really amazing to me. Let's see. I'm gonna have to agree with Raiders Rebel on this. AP is a great motivator. He doesn't have to be the X's and O's guys because he put all those people around him, right? AP is the guy that people will run through a brick wall for. And if you have that as a coach, I don't care, man. I got a coworker, he's a 49ers fan, man. He comes into my office on a regular basis just talking shit about AP and and it's like, dude, like I don't even know what he has against him, man. It's like, I think it's fear-based, honestly. It's like fear that, this guy, because of who he is going to motivate this team to play at their best. And I think it's going to get him kind of tripping, right? Let's see, Ernest or TJ Tampa. TJ Tampa is another one that's on there. TJ Tampa has been definitely kind of rated as a second round pick this whole time. So because some of those first round guys fell, I'd rather get one of those first round guys. But TJ Tampa is good, man. I watched a little bit of tape on him because I think that's a realistic option for us. Also, Max Melton, he's definitely an option for us. Ernest, it's leaving me, man. Who's Ernest, man? Or are you talking to Ernest? I think you're talking to Ernest. There we go. Let's see. Spencer Rattler is the next best QB. He will be gone early. They're already talking about him second day, and Raiders will sleep on him too. Honestly, we might, and if we don't go and get him whenever he's going to go, I think that just says everything that, our camp is thinking about him, right? Like if the Raiders just really don't believe in him, yeah, they're not going to pick him up. So if they pick him up in the second round, I don't think it's going to be a desperation move. I think it's going to be that they legitimately think that that's what he's worth. So, if he passes us by, I think it's going to be mostly that is that we don't really think he's worth it. Lewis, welcome, man. What if Tom's strategy is best player available for the rest of the draft? And that could be it, right? And we might see, this draft board kind of land in this weird spot where, we're picking up positions that we don't necessarily need, even though it's a really good player. And that's a little bit, I don't know if scary is right terminology for that, but I don't really want to see that happen. I want us to see us like fill some of those needs that we have. But honestly, if we're picking up best player available, that's really a good strategy, honestly, for most people, for most teams, right? And there's a lot of teams that have done that, and now they just have really solid teams. I think the 49ers are a good example of that. Instead of drafting for needs, you just pick up the best player available, and then you just have this stacked roster. And they got people like Okay, they did well under Jimmy Garoppolo. Brock Purdy was the last guy in the entire draft, and he took him to NFC championship, and then the next year took him to a Super Bowl. So if we really just kind of stack our roster with weapons, what's to say that Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew can't take us on a deep playoff run? Do I see either of those guys taking us to a Super Bowl? I don't. I've been more surprised, right? I've been surprised by weirder things. So, let's see what happens there. Let's see. TJ Tampa is a big corner. TJ Tampa, I do like him a lot. I don't know that he's better than a Kool-Aid McKinstry or a Cooper DeJean. But, honestly, if we don't have to move up and we can pick him up, I think that it's going to be worth it. Some people are also speculating that we could move back in the second round and pick up some more draft capital. I think that's a little less likely, but because of all these players that fell from the first round, it could happen, right? See, Michael, I love late round quarterbacks. Just look at the history throughout the NFL of the years. There are some good late round quarterbacks. Dak Prescott was a fourth round pick. Derek Carr was a second rounder. Those guys I think are pretty comparable. Honestly, they don't win playoff games. Things like that. And I'm not really trying to knock on them because honestly, there's a lot of Carr haters. There's a lot of Carr lovers. If Carr had taken a pay cut, which, I don't expect anybody to do that, but if he really wanted to be a Raider and play with Devontae Adams and took less money, I think he would have stayed on our roster. And honestly, I think Derek Carr is better than Aiden O'Connell, but not for that price tag. I just think it's, and I think that also moving on from Derek Carr was part of what helped us get rid of Josh McDaniels. And so I'm all about it. Anything that got rid of Josh McDaniels, I'm all about that for sure. Let's see. There we go. If we get Kool-Aid, he can run through a brick wall for AP. Let's go, man. Raider Deb with the haymaker. Yeah, I love that. Let's see. I know we don't need a linebacker, but oh man. If we got Edrin Cooper, which AP might have been like, all right, Tom, you got your guy in the first round. We're getting my guy now. And if we picked up Edrin Cooper, I would love that pick. I would not be mad. Even if we traded up to pick him, I would not be mad about that. Even though linebacker is not one of our biggest needs right now. Really, we got Robert Spillane as a dog, right? Divine Diablo, he's good. Edrin Cooper is better than Divine Diablo for sure. I think he's better than Robert Spillane, honestly. He's definitely better than Luke Masterson and Amari Burney. So if we added Edrin Cooper to this defense, and then we rolled forward with Brandon Faison or Jacorian Bennett at corner, or picked up a corner later on, because there's a lot of corners in this draft. It's pretty deep. And so, yeah, I wouldn't be mad about that at all. And then Tom Telesco going to be looking at UDFAs. He's got a great history of picking up UDFAs. Austin Eckler, running back. He had the most touchdowns. What was that? Was that last year or the year before? Anyway, I mean, he's a great running back. Picked up as a UDFA. You can't be mad at that at all. DK, welcome to the building. I think the QB ship is sailed for this year. It just was not in the cards. Just fill holes with the rest of the picks. Dude, I see on social media, people are like, already saying fire Tom Telesco, fire AP. I knew this wasn't going to work. And the thing is that these guys tried. They tried to trade up with the Commanders. They tried to trade up with the Patriots. They tried to trade up with the Falcons. Like, nobody wanted to play, and like, yeah, you can try to buy all you want, but if you don't have a seller, there's nothing you can do about that. So I don't blame that. I don't blame them for that at all. Some people are saying, oh, coupon Tom, and he was just not offering enough. And that's not true, because other teams try to trade into those same slots and they were unsuccessful. I think that these teams were just really stuck on picking up their guys at those slots. Sorry, guys, I'm a little sick, man, and so my throat keeps drying out. Let's see. We have other needs in QB. That's true, man. Brady was a 6th rounder, and like I know that there's a lot of comp with AOC and Brady, and in O'Connell, I don't think that he's going to be a Brady. I think that he has some skills that if he's utilized correctly, he can win some games for us, especially towards the end of the season. He started slowing down on getting sacked. He started slowing down on throwing picks, and he was doing pretty good. And if he comes in, having a good offseason, and really getting those starting reps this year, I think he's going to be a dog. Honestly, I don't see him as being a top 10 QB ever. He might end up being the top 15. Let me know if I'm wrong on that. Let's see. If Rattler's gone, take Jordan Travis, sit him for a year, learn behind Minshew. Jordan Travis, he's a good prospect. He had that really bad leg break. And what scares me about him is like what happened with Derek Carr, where he broke his leg and he was just never the same after that. So, that's the only thing with Jordan Travis. If we could pick him up in the 4th or 5th round, I would love that. If we had to pick him up in the 2nd or 3rd, I don't like that because he's not going to play this year. That happened in November. And, his leg was all busted up, man. If you look at the film of when he broke his leg, he was in bad shape, but I would not be upset about that if we get him in the 4th or 5th. Let's see, J-Dog, we do need an outside linebacker, bad Jeremiah Trotter after corner and O-line. I was talking about this the other night. Somebody to look out for is Nathaniel Watson from Mississippi, man. Dude had 10 sacks. He kind of sucks in coverage, I guess. But it's somebody to look out for. Jeremiah Trotter, I would be super happy, especially if we could get him in the 3rd. Yeah, send it for sure. Let's see, whichever QB we take, if we take a QB, he will not beat out Aiden O'Connell or Minshew. He will sit for a year or 2 at least. And that's facts, right? And so for us to spend one of these higher draft picks on a QB that's going to sit for a year, because no matter who we take at this point, they're going to sit for a year. So it just doesn't make sense to me to pick one up. I think that, Sanjay was saying that next year we're going to have less teams going for quarterback. And so it's going to be a little bit easier for us to draft one then. And I think that that's going to be the plan, honestly. Let's see. And we still have money to get free agent cornerback. If we don't get one in the draft, there's hope and sky's the limit. Xavier Howard is still in free agency. I believe Stephon Gilmore. If we picked up either of those guys, honestly, I'm leaning towards Howard because he already, he was on the Dolphins. So he played with Christian Wilkins. He played with Adam Butler. He played with John Jenkins. And I really think that he'd be a great addition to our secondary. But I think that they're going to wait and see what happens in the draft. And then they're going to start making those calls. So let's see if we end up picking one up, because, there's still some good CBs available free agency, so we might not go that route because honestly right now, if we went like a Johnny Newton and then we went right tackle or Cooper, what's his name? BB, where's BB at? I think he's on the 2nd page of this thing on ESPN. That's the website I'm looking at. I'm not sharing screen because every time I share a screen, it freezes up. We got Christian Haynes, offensive guard, and then there's also Cooper Beebe. Yep. Cooper Beebe. And like if we picked up either of those guys, like let's say we got Johnny Newton and then we picked up a guard or a tackle in the next round, I'm going to be super happy. Then it's like, all right, go ahead and pick up a corner in free agency and let's go. Let's go. Brendan Rice was somebody that was kind of projected to maybe be a Raider, right? And he's still not off the table. If we pick him up with the 2nd pick, I'm going to be pissed because we got Brock Bowers, right? And I think Brock Bowers is going to fill that need. And I think that they were looking at picking up a receiver at some point. And when Brock Bowers fell, I think they went, wait a minute, this guy's going to be a way better weapon than any of those guys. And let's just go ahead and hit it now. Let me see. J-Dog. Bernie ain't it. And Diablo can't cover, even though he's a former safety. That one's really weird to me, right? Like, why is it that Diablo really struggles with cover? when he used to be a safety. Maybe it's because of the coverage being so different from safety to linebacker that he just never adjusted. And honestly, I don't see us taking Diablo and putting him back in safety. I really like our safety room. I mean, all the way around, we're stacked. So I don't see us picking up a safety at all. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in that room. Let me see. Oh, put it up, take it down. We would have had to give up our next 3 first rounders, and I don't believe in mortgaging the future for the entire team for one player. Honestly, Jaden Daniels is going to be that guy, and clip this. If I'm wrong, man, throw it in my face, but even with the Commanders, I think that he's going to show out even in his first year. And he's probably going to go down as like the one that got away, right? I think that it would have given us our best possible chance to succeed. But now that we didn't get him, I really hope that AP and Tom Telesco take advantage of the picks that we didn't send over there, and actually just really stack our roster. And, I hope that it proves everybody else right that was saying don't mortgage the future. I really, really do, man. Let me see. Oh, that's why I'm all scrolled up on the comments. Sorry, I'm behind, man. I'm pulling a wasted. Navman, welcome. I'm glad you made it. Love that draft pick. Who do you cover next year? Mayer, Bowers, Trey, Devontae, Jacoby. Very hard to plan for. And that's exactly it, man. It's going to open up the running game as well. And he used to play with Zamir White, so they already have a good relationship, I assume, anyway. I guess, he didn't really talk about that in his presser, but yeah, man. I mean, we're just going to have so many weapons. It's going to be just insane. Diablo, he isn't really reliable. Honestly, he's good, but if we can upgrade at the linebacker position, especially if we get like an Edrin Cooper, I'm gonna be happy, man. I'm telling you, super, super happy. Let's see, Ocean View Coffee Shop, man. I'll put you up not because of what you said, because I'm not sure what idea you're saying is great, but because if you're a coffee shop, I want everybody to see this, right? I don't know where you're located. If you got a website or something, go ahead and feel free to drop it in the chat. Got to show some love to the nation. See, Tom and Getsy, tight end. Now AP might get his guy now. And Luke Getsy, I think that really this guy's going to work well in his offense. And honestly, I'm not an expert about Luke Getsy's offense. But the 2 tight end set and being able to utilize Bowers in several different ways, like I said earlier, he had a lot of his snaps in the slot. He had a lot of his snaps on the outside, and then he had a lot of snaps at TE. He also takes things from the backfield, jet sweeps, all kinds of stuff, man. So this dude is really going to be that gadget player. Christian McCaffrey, what's his name? Samuel. I think that we're going to get that kind of play out of him. So I'm really, really hoping. Let's see. I'm going to try to catch up on the chat a little bit, man. I think Gilmore signed elsewhere, but not 100% sure. If you find out what's going on with that, let me know, because I made an assumption that he's still available just because I haven't seen anything about it. Cooper Beebe. I don't know if it's BB or Beeb. But however you say his name, the dude he's a great guard. And if they think that Thayer Mumford is the right tackle of the future, then getting somebody in that right guard slot will be helpful, especially with opening up the running game. Yeah, I think BB is really one of the ways to go. Let's see. Rice at 4th or 5th. Right now they have him ranked at 49 overall, at least on ESPN. In a lot of the mock drafts I was doing, he was still available in the 4th or 5th. And honestly, if he's available that late, I don't see the harm in picking him up. But with Bowers now on our offense, we really have a lot of weapons. And I don't know if it's really a need unless they're planning on moving on from Devontae Adams. And if that's the case, they might pick him up, honestly. Diablo health is an issue. That's true, man. That is true. The more I'm seeing these comments, the more I'm just kind of getting attached to Edrin Cooper, man. Right now, I'm kind of Johnny Newton. Edrin Cooper is my go-to for our 2nd round pick. But if we pick up a Kool-Aid McKinstry or Cooper DeJean, shit, I'll be happy, man. I'll be super happy. Let's see, or JD could get busted up running and be the next RG3. That's very, very true. Or there's Anthony Richardson. He was out the whole season with the injury, and then the Colts just signed Flacco. So I think that his injury is bad enough that he's going to be out another year. So it could be that, in the first couple of games, Jaden Daniels gets hurt, and we're sitting there thinking, man, we dodged a bullet. Edrin Cooper, man, I'm telling you. See, Getsy is a 2 tight end set guru from the Shanahan mold. Seeing if he's from the Shanahan mold and we got a player that, can play like Christian McCaffrey, watch out, man. I think that that'll be insane. Something that people are speculating also is that they're bringing on the 2 tight end set, and then Tom Brady's going to come out of retirement. That way, Aiden O'Connell can, learn behind him and things, which honestly, I wouldn't really be mad at first when it was introduced last year that we might get Tom Brady. I was pissed, I'm telling you guys, man, I'm in recovery, right? And the Tuck rule made my 4-step resentments, right? And so I held on to that for ever since it happened, and I'm still pretty pissed off about it, honestly. But to bring him on after hating Tom Brady for so long, the only thing that I could see out of that is he is I don't know, man. He's won 7 Super Bowls. If he could add an 8th one in Vegas, I wouldn't be mad at all. Hell, it might be him making amends to us, right? All right. Let me see, man. Junior Colson from Michigan is one I hope we get in the 3rd if he falls. Raider Tone, that was one that I saw Wasted Talent was talking about him. I haven't watched any tape on him. But yeah, man, he's one of those top linebackers that if we are able to pick him up, man, we're going to be better because of it for sure. Let me see. Look at next year's quarterback draft with Carson Beck. I'd be much happier with him, and he played with Brock. Yeah, man, that they'd already have that familiarity. They'd already have a good relationship. I think that could be a good option for us, honestly. If one of these quarterbacks that we have on the roster doesn't just show out this year, we'll be drafting a quarterback next year. I guarantee it, man. Gilmore's still a free agent. See, Stephon Gilmore is getting a lot older. He hasn't done nearly as good as he used to, but you put him opposite of Jack Jones. Yeah, dude, insane. Especially the things that our secondary could learn from a veteran like that. Man, I'd be happy with it for sure. Do you think the new hip drop rule affected a lot of defensive players' stock, forcing GMs to focus more on offense? I think that the NFL is really moving in that direction. And so I do think that it did play a role in their draft boards. But I really think that the reason why defensive players went so late was because of that run on quarterbacks. Most people did not expect that many quarterbacks to go in the top 12. We had 6 quarterbacks go in the top 12. And so it pushed all the defensive players back, which is, really awful for everybody else because those top teams that were drafting late in the first round, they got to pick up top 10 defensive picks and didn't even have to move. So that's just, man, that's rough, dude. It really sucks. See, the truth is the Tuck rule was not Brady's fault. It was the NFL's fault. And that's true, man. And I held it against him. I really like that video with Tom Brady and Charles Woodson where he basically admits that it was a fumble, man. I thought it was really funny, dude. But yeah, that really was the NFL's fault. And I just remember watching that game, dude, and I was crushed, dude. I was so pissed. I've seen videos of Cowboy fans just breaking their TV, and I've never broken a TV, but I understand the feeling. That's for sure. Let's see. Just saw that. I thought the Dolphins got Gilmore. I think that the Dolphins did pick up somebody though, and I forget who they picked up. But that really leads me to believe that they're not going to get Howard, right? And if they're not going to get Howard, I'm surprised we haven't picked him up yet. I think that they're just waiting because since he hasn't gotten picked up yet, we're going to see who we pick up in the draft. And then if we still have a need there, well, his price is going to have dropped because it's like, look, like nobody picked you up, come over here. I got a little kitty pulling on my leg, man. That's funny. Let's see. Oops. See, we can't be like, oh, we will just draft this guy next year, Can't bank on nothing. And that's true, man. We don't really know what the future is going to hold. And so if they see a quarterback in this year's draft that they deem is worth picking up since now, I think they'll do that. If we don't pick up a quarterback, I think that we'll probably be in the market for one next year. It seems like AP is really big on competition. I think even if we had pulled in Jaden Daniels, he would have made him go into competition with Aiden O'Connell and Garner Minshew. And Jaden Daniels would have won, of course, but I think he would have still made him go into competition with them because that's how you get better, man. If you're just handed stuff in life, that's a bad business. See, we about to win the division. AP building a bully. Toya, I would love for us to win the division. Right now, I don't think that the Chargers are going to do it. And I definitely don't think the Broncos are going to do it. I'm really glad that they got Bo Nix because that means that we didn't get him. I was really getting worried there for a second. So really the Chiefs are the only thing in our way. We don't have the offense to beat the Chiefs, but if we can put up a decent amount of points, at least over 20, and just really get them on defense, we stand a chance. We do stand a chance, and I think that we're going to start giving them comp here really, really soon, man. Hopefully this year. I wanted to break the TV, but I was on deployment in the military, therefore no TV breaking. Yeah, I don't think that would go over too well over there, man. Glad you didn't go get yourself in trouble. Cannot wait to see the drama in Atlanta going forward. Must see TV. I still am just like, there's so many videos and articles out right now. They're just, everybody's baffled. Like, why would the Falcons pick up Michael Penix Jr. after signing Kirk Cousins to this huge deal? And it doesn't make sense to me. Somebody is saying, oh, well, maybe they picked him up, that way they could trade him off for something, and I really don't see that being the case because there was 3 teams. One of them was us that tried to trade up to get Michael Penix, and they turned down all those trades. So I really don't know. I mean, maybe it's that Kirk Cousins' injury is a little bit worse than they're letting us know, and they're picking him up because they're not extremely confident that Kirk Cousins is going to stay healthy. And if that's the case, more power to him, I guess. Let's see. If Aiden O'Connell balls out and takes a giant leap forward year 2, we won't be needing to draft a QB. And that's exactly right, Raider X, and that's really actually what I hope happens. If he can really make that leap and become a way better quarterback, and we don't have to spend on a quarterback, we can really stack this team around him, and that's going to put us in the best position possible, honestly. Let me see. Yeah, Kirk Cousins did get a crazy big contract. It was $180 million over 4 years, $100 million guaranteed. So they can't even get out of that contract for, I think, like 2-3 years. It's insane, dude. They might pull a Russell Wilson on him. See, stop it. We're not winning the division with Aiden O'Connell as the quarterback. South Dakota Raider, honestly, I don't really have faith in Aiden O'Connell to win the division. I do have faith in AP, and I do have faith in our defense. So I think that I think we'll probably finish second in the division, honestly. If I'm being honest with myself, and if I'm being honest with you guys, that's where I think that we're going to end up is number 2 in the division. But I do think that we will make it to the playoffs. I really do. Let's see. Oh, clicked on the wrong one. This one. Yep, you were saying it, in the chat. Guaranteed money, dude. I don't know how he gets all that guaranteed money. He's not that good, dude. He's good, but he's not that good. I don't know, man. People say O'Connell won't win us nothing, but once AP took over, the team changed completely. Sure, he didn't score versus the Chiefs, but now we have a beast of a tight end. And that's just, Brock Bowers is just another weapon for Aiden O'Connell to succeed, and if we give Aiden O'Connell everything he needs to succeed, like especially if we stack up that offensive line now in the draft. We give him everything he needs to succeed, and he still performs lousy. Definitely move on from him, right? Okay, cool. You're going to be quarterback 2, lifer, right? But if you give him everything to succeed and he does, are people really going to be mad about it? Because I'm not going to be mad about it. I'll be super happy. I want the dude to succeed because he's our quarterback, right? That doesn't mean that I don't want to see us try to improve at that position. You know, some people get so attached to a player that they don't want to ever see us move on. And I don't live in that realm, man. Let's see. Do you think we take a young running back this year? You know, Tom got Eckler as UDFA, but I want to see what Sincere McCormick can do, right? And Sincere McCormick has great tape, and he wasn't even on my radar, but Graphic Radar was talking about him a lot. And so I started watching tape on him, and the dude's a dog. And I'm really surprised that he hasn't gotten any reps at all. And because we man, his name's escaping me right now. We brought over the running back from the Vikings. Somebody let me know his name. And he's good, right? But honestly, I could see us picking up a running back, hopefully not in the second round. If we pick up a running back, maybe in the 4th, 5th, or 6th, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Madison, there we go. Yeah, Madison is good. He signed a 2-year deal, and Zamir White still has a couple years on his rookie deal. So, honestly, I don't know if we do that this year, because we have those guys both locked in for 2 years. And we got Amir Abdullah. I don't know that we're going to do that, man. I really don't. I think that we might just go ahead and pass on running back this year, unless we just have some great value pick late in the rounds where they just cannot pass on him. But, yeah, Atlanta was dumb. That was our pick, man. And we tried to trade up for it, and we couldn't get him, man. So you think Minshew starting, but that we can win the division with Aiden? And that's a little bit conflicting statements in one sentence, but also Minshew is a dog, and I could see us ending up rolling forward with Minshew because he could beat Aiden O'Connell out. He's more of a diverse player. He's got a lot of skills that Aiden O'Connell doesn't, but I think Aiden O'Connell's got a better arm, and so it's really going to be about them weighing out like how much. I think what they're going to do is they probably going to want to weigh out who Aiden O'Connell really is to see if he's that guy moving forward. Because Gardner Minshew, I'd be really surprised if he ended up being like a Rich Gannon, where as a veteran moves over to like what was like 4th team, and then ends up being this star quarterback. I don't know if that's in the cards for Minshew. Yeah, a lot of people are sleeping on Aiden O'Connell. I'm just not extremely confident with that being our guy, and it's obvious that neither the Raiders aren't confident either, because they tried to trade up to number 2 to get a quarterback, tried to trade to number 3, and tried to trade to number 8. So since we went after at least 2 different quarterbacks, because I think that us trying to move up to number 3 was more about trying to get up to 3 and then swap picks with the Commanders. That way, maybe they take Drake May and we get Jane Daniels. But we also went for Michael Penix Jr. So that just tells me that, that they don't really have confidence in Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. Yeah, I don't know. That's where I stand with that. See, if you completely load up on offensive weapons, which is what we started last night, and they get the offensive linemen to protect those weapons, it doesn't matter who we have at quarterback. I think it matters less. I think it'll still matter, but it'll matter a lot less. I think it puts us in a position where, let's face it, if you make it to the NFL as a quarterback, you can throw the ball, right? And if you're just really stacked enough, I think that as long as that quarterback isn't making really bad mistakes and throwing picks and things like that, and fumbling the ball, which we saw a lot of that from O'Connell in his first couple of games, but he really started to clean that up. And I have a feeling that those things are going to be a lot more cleaned up moving forward. We did beat the Chiefs without completing a pass in the 4th quarter. Actually, we only completed a pass in the 1st quarter. There was no passes completed in the second, third, or fourth quarters in that game. So it was really all defense and running. And, that's what I'm saying. Like, that really just proves the last comment's point is it really won't matter who we have at quarterback. As long as we have all the weapons in place, we could still win games. I want to see our quarterback be able to complete passes throughout all quarters. I want to see him throw more than one touchdown a game. Like that game against the Chargers where we scored 63 points, everybody was on fire that game, right? But if Aiden O'Connell can show up like that at least some of the time, that's pretty decent to me. I like that. He showed up really good in that one. See, we're interested in Damian Pierce from Houston. Damian Pierce. Who's Damian Pierce, man? I'm not familiar with that name. How come I don't know that name? I'm going to look him up real quick. Damian Pierce. Football running back. So he's currently in the NFL. Huh. He had a down year last year. He had 939 rushing yards in 2022. Then in 2023, he had 416. Was he out with injury or what was going on with that, man? I haven't heard anything about Damian Pierce. But yeah, if we can pick up running backs that are already in the league and save our draft picks for other things, I won't be mad about that at all. Okay, J-Dog Madison gets yards after contact. And we got a lot of those guys, right, that get that yak, because Brock Bowers is also one of those guys, yards after contact, and then also with Michael Mayer, yards after contact. Like, so I really think that we're gonna have some dogs on that offense, man. I'm really looking forward to the season starting. Let's see. All right, now, man, let us look back at Rich Gannon. He was a journeyman, came to Raiders' best offensive line in NFL and a decent defense. That's the big one, right? Is that like if you put a quarterback that, has a decent skill set in the right situation, that quarterback's going to succeed. Like, okay, and I don't really want to get this all about Derek Carr or nothing, right? But if you take Derek Carr, right, and you put him on the roster that we have right now, I think he's going to play way better than he did before we got rid of him, right? But, him moving over to the Saints and really just not, flourishing over there, I think kind of says a lot on where his career is headed. But like, I really think that, you can have a quarterback that isn't this superstar quarterback and you put him, with the right weapons and a good defense, they're going to succeed. I really believe that. Bowers did get a lot of good snaps at running back too, man. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he really reminds me of Christian McCaffrey, and he's less of a running back and more of a receiver, which really, I think I'm surprised that they don't use McCaffrey just in that kind of role instead. And he might end up moving to that because running backs are really, they take some really nasty hits and they don't have a long life, and so I think putting a player in a position where not only is he putting up the best numbers for you, but also is not getting injured unnecessarily. I think like with us with Brock Bowers, we have Zamir White, we have Alexander Madison. They can take those runs that are more high risk, and then Brock Bowers can take all those other snaps that are less risk and more reward. So I'd really like to see that. Blake Fisher played with Aiden O'Connell. I didn't know that. Honestly, I did not know that, J-Dog. If that's the truth, then that would be the guy, right? Because they should already have a chemistry. And that's important, right? You got to have chemistry between your quarterback and your offensive line. Blake Fisher is one of those guys that he's hit almost all of my mock drafts, man, because he's good. He's really, really good. Raider Paul, welcome, man. Let's see. Jordan Travis, number 44. Honestly, I'll be pissed. Honestly, if we pick up Jordan Travis at number 44, I will be pissed. Now, if we pick up Jordan Travis later on, we were talking about that a while ago. Yeah, sure. But Jordan Travis is not going to play this year. I know that he's, doing workouts and things like that, but he is just, coming back from that injury, being yeah, he's going to sit at least 1 year, and I would hate to spend a second round pick on somebody that can't even play this year. Let me see. Let's see how many tight ends can succeed in a tight end sweep. That dude is that athletic. Just adds more shit for the opposing defense to plan against. And if you haven't watched any tape on Brock Bowers yet, like do yourself a favor and go watch it. I was really not happy with that pickup last night. I felt really deflated, and I started watching some stuff last night, and I watched some more this morning, and there's so many videos that have been put out on him in the last 12 hours. It's insane. Go check it out, man. It's worth a watch. The dude is a dog, and I'm actually really super happy to have him. I wasn't happy about the pick when it happened, but okay, I can accept the fact that this is who we got, and then I just take a look at how are we going to be able to use him. And so now that he's a Raider, yeah, we're going to be able to use him in a lot of good ways. Super super stoked about that. Let's see. There are times when Aiden O'Connell is just going to have to take a sack as opposed to scrambling for a first down. And that's what hurts about Aiden O'Connell. And I don't think he's ever going to be good at scrambling for a first down, maybe here and there. I mean, even Tom Brady used to do that, right? But really, if he could get a little bit better about his pocket awareness, right? And just kind of moving around, knowing when to move up or step to the side and maybe roll out. If he really gets those kind of moves down, I think that Aiden O'Connell is going to be a beast for us. But if he doesn't get that kind of footwork down, if he doesn't work on his footwork and work on his eyes, right? Because he's too blatant about where he's looking and where he's going to throw, and defenses are able to see that. If he can work on that a little bit on both of those, I think that he will really take that huge leap. I really do. Watch us sign Dak Prescott next year. There'll be some Raider ass shit, and Dak Prescott, he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's good. I don't think that Dak Prescott's ever going to win a Super Bowl. But more than that, the price tag on him is insane. He's projected to go like $45 million or something a year for his next contract. And that's a hard pass for me. These teams that are really winning are having quarterbacks that are not on these huge deals. Like Kansas City is being able to actually, after they paid Patrick Mahomes, they had to let go of Tyreek Hill, and they're having to let go of Snead and things like that because of these big contracts. And so when you have these players with these huge contracts, you really got to be able to draft well and pick up some players. Like they just picked up Xavier Worthy, which I'm surprised, first round pick. I didn't really like him. He's fast. He's a good speedster. He's got, he's got some good play in him, but he's got some drop problems, right? And that's like the last thing that Mahomes needs is more drop problems, right? And so I hope that turns out being good for us, because if he cleans up those drop problems, then that dude's going to be a problem for us, and that sucks because we got to play him twice a year. Let's see, Raider X. What's going on, man? Not all the passes incompleted in the last 3 quarters were AOC's fault. Adams dropped a few good passes too. And I saw a lot of that, right? Where it seemed like Adams and Aiden O'Connell were really just not being able to connect and get on the same page. And so hopefully they've had some time to work on that. I don't know how Adams is going to feel now that we didn't get a quarterback, because, he even posted stuff about Jaden Daniels. He didn't make it a secret that he wanted a quarterback, even though last year he was talking good about Aiden O'Connell. I think that, Adams knows how to do the PR stuff with that. He's going to say the right things, and hopefully they can really have a good relationship moving forward, because if they're not getting their timing right, we're going to be in for some rough games, dude. I also believe Zeus is going to be better, and it's either Zeus is going to be better or he's really going to show us that he's not the guy. He showed out really good in those last 4 games, and if he can keep the momentum or build on that, I'll be super happy with Zeus. Honestly, I loved Josh Jacobs, man. He was he was that dude. But it just like, I don't know, Raiders made him an offer that was pretty close to that, and it had more guaranteed money, and he still went to Green Bay, and I'm not really sure why or what happened there. I have a feeling that there's some more behind the scenes kind of stuff that happened, but it is what it is. We lost Josh Jacobs, we got Zamir White, and I think that he's going to show out for us, man. Okay, that's what happened with that running back from Houston, is that they had another RB1. Got it. Let's see, Pierce being similar to Zamir. I'm behind on the chat, man. I must be. Yes, there are videos of Brock Bowers throwing the ball in trick plays. This guy is just an all-out weapon. He can do everything. And that's what I'm saying. He reminds me of Christian McCaffrey. He has a lot of that same play style. I haven't seen anybody do any comparisons on them or anything like that, but that's how I really feel, honestly. Let's see if Ray Davis from Kentucky, if he falls to the fourth, is a Marshawn Lynch clone, a bruiser. And some people were worried about him because he's a little bit older. I'm not really worried about that because the dude's a dog. He's a great running back. And yeah, if he falls to the fourth, I would say run and get him, run to the podium. But to get him in the second or third round definitely is not something I'm really interested in, especially because we went with an offensive weapon in round 1, and I'd love to see us, fill the few holes that we have and then go from there. Let's see. Minshew is going to shock you. Honestly, I hope he does. The dude's already doing good in the locker room, but I don't know, man. I like him. I think he's a dog. I don't think he's ever going to be a top 10 or 15 quarterback. I really don't. But like we were talking about already, I don't think that that's necessarily a need. I don't think that we have to have a quarterback that's rated that high. Let's see. I was happy to see you in the chat sports stream last night. Hopefully you got some exposure. Much love, brother. Hey, thanks for giving me a shout out there. And really, man, I've been, I'm always on these lives, man, with chat sports, with Graphic Raider, with Wasted Talent. If you guys haven't already found them, go check them out. All these guys are just amazing, man. They really lit that fire for me to get me back in. Yeah, man, they're good people for sure. See, yeah, happy that the Broncos got Bo Nix. I was getting worried, man, because like Broncos were on the clock, and I was looking at the players available, and I was like, dude, if they pick up anybody else, we're gonna end up with Bo Nix, man. And I don't want Bo Nix. He's checked down Charlie. He's another Jimmy Garoppolo, and they just stacked the box against us, and I would hate to see that. So I'm glad that he's gonna be a Bronco because I think we're gonna know how to play against him, honestly. Let's see. Got the recipe to beat the Chiefs. Honestly, I think that they're going to have to really change up their game to play against us. And honestly, I think that AP knows that. But yeah, you really put that pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and the dude's like a magician, right? He's going to, I was actually watching this live earlier. I haven't heard this guy before. I just found his channel. But he was talking about how like in other sports, you can have like in basketball, you can have like a Kobe Bryant putting up 80 points in a game and things like that, and so it's not as much of a cohesive team sport as football. And Patrick Mahomes is kind of like the exception to the rule on that, but also he's not, because if Patrick Mahomes is showing up in a really good way, but we're being able to take out all the other weapons that he has, he can't win a game by himself. You watched Justin Fields last year trying to win games by himself, and that's not working out. He's being the running back, he's being the quarterback. I was just waiting for him to throw it and then run and catch it in the end zone. Like he was trying to be that one-man team, and in football you can't do that. And so I think that really, if we play the Chiefs correctly, honestly, I think that we can continue to win games against them. See, I'm going to be patient and wait and see what Aiden O'Connell turns into. I am confident. I have some confidence in him, but man, if we geez, man, if we can get a better quarterback, I'd rather go that route. But he's our quarterback right now, and honestly, I think that he can still win us games. I really do. See, Josh Jacobs left for an extra $2 million or something. I'd rather be a Raider and win with this new team. In Green Bay, they do have a good team right now. I don't know, man. Going out to Wisconsin, I think that was one of the motivators for Devontae Adams to get out of there, right? Is that it's out in Wisconsin. Jacorian Bennett, second year will be better, and I believe he will be able to stay up with Xavier Worthy. He is a speedster. People forgot Jacorian ran a 4.330. 40, sorry. And Xavier ran a 4.2. In this case, we're not too far. Exactly, man. And that's, in the underwear Olympics, when it comes to guys having pads on, they're going to run a different speed. And I think that Jacorian can keep up with him, dude. I really do. I think that that's who we need to have on Worthy when we play against them. Didn't y'all hear Josh Jacobs last year? The only thing he wanted to do is win, so he left for a team that wins. And that could be a huge motivator on his part, and best of luck to him. But why would you not want to play for AP? That's a weird one. Let's see. Did you see the sweatshirt he was wearing at the draft last night? It said "Little ass boy, he's a blast." Gardner Minshew, right? Dude, that dude is funny, man. I think it's funny that he owned that because that video was so funny, man. If you haven't seen the video with Max Crosby calling Gardner Minshew a little ass boy, look it up on YouTube, man. It's super, super funny. I also hope Jacorian Bennett progressed. Maybe we don't need a corner. Maybe they think he's that guy. We're gonna find out probably today. Uncle Rico. All right, now, man, you got to bounce. Let's fucking go. Raiders. I'm getting excited, guys. We've been on here for coming up on an hour and a half, man. I want to look back into this thing with the available players, man. If you guys have it available, you can look on ESPN about the best available in the draft that's left, and it has an accurate board. Cooper DeJean is the top of that board. Johnny Newton, Kool-Aid McKinstry. We got a couple of wide receivers there, which I hope we're not looking at, honestly. Braden Fisk, Edrin Cooper. Who would you guys like to see us pick up? Michael, we appreciate you a lot, man. I'm going to be here every time you come on to support you in the nation. Hey, I appreciate that, man. I really, really do. There's those content creators where every time they go live, I make sure I jump on, man. And so I'm really grateful that you're standing in that same position with me. That's really awesome. Yeah, unless you guys want to go into any more details about any of these players, man. I mean, I think that we're getting. Oh, there's a little kitty. You guys can probably hear the little kitties. Yeah, I got some baby kittens in here, and they're getting a little rowdy on me. So yeah, I think that we're gonna go ahead and wrap up, you guys. I'm thankful for you guys joining me today. I look forward to the draft. Depending on what goes on tonight, I might jump on for a live again. We'll see how things kind of unfold. I might just put out a video, or I might wait until tomorrow to go live again. So you guys keep a lookout. I'll do my best to schedule it. That way you at least can see it a little bit in advance. So if you guys want to rock with, look me up real quick here and there, and I'll make sure to schedule it a little bit in advance. Probably at least, an hour or two in advance before I go on. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.